churches are doing everything to reach people. Easter egg hunts, block parties, trunk or treats, and still nothing sticks. You pour your heart out, you rally your volunteers, you pray, and yet Sunday rolls around and the seats are still empty. If that's you, you are not alone. I am right there with you. And listen, here's the most important thing. You're not failing. But there is one critical mistake that we are making with church outreach. And today, I'm going to show you how we're going to fix it together. All right, here's the mistake. We are treating outreach like a moment instead of a movement. Right? Most of us treat outreach like it's just an event on the calendar. It is something that we need to do. It is a task that we need to complete. We know we need to reach people for Jesus, and so we have an outreach event, but we don't understand that that outreach event has to have follow-up. People are not going to come and see you at a trunk or treat and then show up at church on Sunday because they're missing that element of following up. At the end of the day, people are looking for connection, and I understand the desire to have outreach and believing that that outreach is going to be enough to make that connection. But the truth of a church planner who has been doing outreach for a really long time, that's just not happening. They're enjoying the event, they're enjoying being around us, but that we're missing that connection element that is so critical for outreach. So while outreach is incredibly important, you don't just need an outreach event. What you need to do is a system that provides for that continuous connection after the event happens. And tell me if this sounds like you. If you don't have that system, is your church having an event, not following up with the visitors? Then your volunteers feel burnt out because they think, why in the world are we doing this? I just gave my Saturday, but I'm not seeing any fruit of the ministry work that I did on Saturday for the outreach. I'm not seeing that fruit on Sunday. And so your volunteers are getting burnt out and exhausted. And you're getting burnt out and exhausted because you're taking a lot of effort and energy to reach people and you're just not seeing the people reached. Why? Because you've hyped up outreach as this event, but you haven't tied it into a follow-up and a discipleship system to continue the connection that you are attempting to make at that outreach event. Okay, so how are we going to fix this? Because we need to fix this, right? I don't know if you've seen the statistics, but they're pretty scary. It's 32% church attendance right now in the United States, which is crazy low. It's the lowest it's ever been in our country's history. And so churches, we've got to find a way to get out into the communities and reach the lost. And so outreach is absolutely the way to go. We just need to fix it a little bit. We got to tweak some things. And the first thing that we're going to tweak is we're going to tweak our expectations with our volunteers. We're going to do this in two ways. One, pastors, we need to do a really good job of it setting expectations with the volunteers about what outreach is. We need to be explaining that these are small moments where we are planting seeds, and to not get discouraged when we have an outreach event and we don't immediately see a plant pop up the next day, right? We are consistently showing up to build that trust within our community because we've lost as churches in the United States. We've lost a lot of trust in our communities. And so we need to be about outreach so that we can start building back that trust, and that takes time. So set that expectation with your volunteers. The second part of the expectation with volunteers that you're going to set is give them all of the details, right? When are they going to show up? What are they going to be doing? Who is in charge? When are they going to leave? And I am notoriously bad for this, not because I don't think that this is important. I know that this is incredibly important, but if you're a pastor like me, you get worried. I get worried that I'm so grateful that someone's agreed to show up and volunteer that I will take whatever that they want to give. And that is the worst possible thing that you could do for your volunteers. They want to show up. Your volunteers love the church as much as you do. Your members love the church as much as you do. And so they want to volunteer. But if you don't give them clear cut, rules and times and roles and guidelines, that's not honoring them and allowing them freedom to choose what they want to do. It is just creating a frustrating mess. And I know that it comes from a place of genuine love and concern, but we've got to, pastors, we've got to do better with this. Set up clear expectations emotionally, and also set up clear expectations about the event physically so that your volunteers have total confidence when they come in and start helping. Okay, the second thing that we're going to do to fix this outreach thing is we need to treat it not like a one-time event, but rather an ongoing, continuous conversation with your community. This is where I see churches miss the mark so often because they set up one giant event and they think this is it. We're doing this giant thing, and throughout the year, our community is going to remember us. No, literally the day after your event has happened, your community has forgotten you. Now, we have one big event that we do as a church every year. It's the big truck showcase. If you guys want information on that, comment below. I am happy to give you all of the details. It's an incredible event. It's very inexpensive. It is a wonderful way to reach out to your community. So we do have the one event, but we have other smaller events throughout the year and service opportunities, because we don't want to do just one event and hope that that one event is going to keep us in the forefront of people's minds for the whole year, because it's just not. You need small touch points throughout the year, which is why we try to have one event, one outreach event every month in order to maintain that rhythm. All right. And this is the hardest one, because again, we're going to talk about this, like our emotions behind this. But here's what we need to do. We've got to plan the follow-up before the event. That steps on my toes. I'm going to say it again. We've got to plan the follow-up before the event. That is so mission critical, which means you've got to find a way to collect information. I know that that's uncomfortable for you. You are in ministry. You are not in marketing. And I am in marketing, and it's still uncomfortable for me. Like, I'm a bivocational pastor. Like, my day job is insurance broker. So I'm used to collecting information. It's still uncomfortable to collect information. But listen, if you're having an event and you have no way to speak to the people that came to your event, how are you going to continue that relationship? You can't. So you've got to figure out a way to collect that information and do that. Now, in future videos, I'll dive deeper into this, but understand the overarching thing is you've got to find a way to compel them to give your information. That means giveaways. I know that sounds cheesy and corny, and I know that that's making your Jesus heart cringe. I get that. But at the end of the day, if you can, have a small little, hey, I'm giving away, we're doing a field day at the end of June. We're going to give away a bunch of summer toys for the kids, right? So just different baskets and games, and the parents are going to give their information. And then at the end of the event, we're going to give some of this stuff away to the kids, right? We're probably going to spend $100 to $150, but that is gold if you collect names that you can then follow up with and reach out to about other events and inviting them to church and Sunday school, right? You're getting in the rhythm of reminding them that you are a church that meets on Sunday. And I know that sounds foreign to you because you think, well, of course we're a church that meets on Sunday. Why don't people remember us? People don't remember you. We have been doing outreach in our community consistently for 3 years. People still don't remember us because people have so much stuff going on. So it's in the forefront of your mind. I promise you it is not in the forefront of their mind. And so you've got to find a way to collect their information. And then once you collect it, you need to figure out what that follow-up looks like. Are they going to get a text? Are they going to get an email? Are they going to get a handwritten note? And then you need to assign the person that's going to do that, right? Who is going to do that? And then most importantly, we need somebody to be praying over those names, right? The power of prayer is so incredibly important. And, again, as a bivocational pastor who is an entrepreneur in my, 9-to-5 job, sometimes I forget that, but prayer is so incredibly powerful. We need somebody to take that list of names and pray over them. What if we did that as a church, right? What if we had an outreach event and then got those names, and for the next 30 days, somebody or some buddies at your church, their job, because their gifting is in faith, and what if their job was to just pray over those people every single day? You tell me that wouldn't change your community? Like, that would change your community, because it's not about just putting butts in seats. Please understand, it's about introducing them to Jesus. That is the most important thing that we can be doing. And so I'm telling you, these follow-up systems, it isn't just to get more people in your church. It is to get more people to Jesus, because that is ultimately the goal, or should be the goal of every single church. And so get that list and have somebody who's going to follow up with them physically, like with the text or email or thank you card or whatever that looks like. But then also have somebody or somebody's praying over that list of people. That's incredibly important. Listen, outreach without follow-up is like trying to plant seeds on concrete. No way it's going to grow. All right, and pastors, we have got to build a culture all around this. And I do think that this is one of the things that our church is totally bought into. They are so passionate about finding the lost. And so we've got to be intentional about creating that culture. Are we preaching sermons about everyone's role in that, finding the lost, right? We need to activate the 99 to get out of the pen to find that lost one. So are you preaching from the pulpit about that? Are you telling them that our job as Christians, our number one role as a Christian is to tell people about Jesus? And are you showing them by example and by these outreach opportunities ways for them to engage in order to do so? That culture is so incredibly important, because so often I see outreach as like given to a couple of people and like, okay, it's their responsibility to do outreach and the rest of us are just going to sit in our pews. And that is not the culture that you want in your church. It is everybody's responsibility. Jesus said in Matthew 28, go therefore and make disciples in my name, baptizing them, right? That's everyone's job, not just the 3 or 4 people that do outreach. It is everybody's job in the church to do that. And as pastors and as leaders, we have the unique opportunity to help engage and build that culture and get people excited. And listen, let me tell you, nothing will bless your heart like seeing a brand new Christian at an outreach event handing out a flyer or a bottle of water or just smiling. Like it's so incredible, because you get the privilege, pastor, leader, culture creator, of pouring into your people, encouraging them to serve, and then you get to watch them serve and you get to watch what that serving does to their spirit, right? It is such an incredible moment, but it starts by us creating that culture within our church. That outreach isn't just something that we have to do, it's something that we get to do. It is an opportunity to get into our communities and share the love of Christ. And we should all be about that, and we should all be excited about it. All right, so we've set our expectations. Outreach is not a one-time event on the calendar. It is a continuous, ongoing church rhythm that we are involved in. And we are creating a culture of excitement around reaching the lost. This final one is mission critical, and it is one that we are going to have to practice. It is one that is going to feel horribly uncomfortable when we do it the first few times, and that's okay. And heck, it might feel comfortable every time that you do it, and that's just also very normal. But we are going to start asking people to come to church. I know, and I can feel everyone clench when I say that, but listen to me. People need connection. That flyer that you're handing them, it's not enough. And I wish that it were. And listen, as somebody who is so guilty of not doing this because it is uncomfortable. And again, I do sales for a living, right? The ask should be the most comfortable thing that I have, because we have the best solution for all of our problems, and that's Jesus. And yet, even though in my day-to-day life I'm super comfortable with it, it still can be uncomfortable in ministry. And I get it. I do. And so let's work on that. Here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to stop being vague, and we are going to stop being overly polite. Listen to me. We're not doing ourselves any favors here. And again, guilty as charged, right? Where I've been like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here. Yay, that's so great. I'm so glad you're having a great time. In fact, I had somebody at my church who came for a youth event, and she said to me, we're looking for a new church home. I didn't invite her back the next Sunday because I didn't want to make her uncomfortable. How dumb am I, right? Like, oh, so take a deep breath. We're going to stop being polite and overly vague. We're just going to ask the question. And yeah, we're going to ask the question and we're going to get no's, and that's okay. It's not about whether they say yes or no. That's not your responsibility. God's handling that portion. That's the output. That's his role. You're just responsible for the ask. You're just responsible for the question itself. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to say, and practice this in a mirror. Write this down. Say this over and over again, because this practice is key, right? Don't just assume that when you meet this person face to face, if you haven't practiced this, that you're just going to say this right correctly. You're not, right? So I'm going to say these words to you. I'm going to put it in the description. I'm going to put it in the comment section, and then you're going to commit to practicing this. Church pastor, you're going to commit to practicing this. And then you're going to get your volunteers to practice this. Here's the question that we are going to ask. Are you ready? Hey, I'm so glad you came. I'd love to see you this Sunday. Hey, I'll be there at 10:15. Church service starts at 10:30. Can I save you a seat? That's it. And then you're going to be quiet. So you're going to give them a time. Okay? I'm going to be there at 10:15. Church service starts at 10:30. You're going to give them a reason. Hey, I want to see you again. Right? I want to connect with you. Like, I want to see you again on Sunday. We need connection. Give them a reason, and then make it personal. Can I save you a seat? That personal touch is what we're missing when we just hand them a flyer and expect them to read it and go, oh, they want to see me again. They're not making the connection, I promise you, right? So you have to make the connection for them by asking them. And yes, this is going to be uncomfortable. And yes, you're going to get a lot of people that are going to look at you weird, and they're going to stumble, and they're going to say no, and and this is sometimes worse, they're going to say yes, and then they're not going to show up on Sunday. That's okay. You still did your part. You made the connection. You made it personal. You gave them a reason, and you gave them a time. God's going to handle the rest, and you don't know what that seed is going to do. Plus, you've got people that are going to be praying over those people. Plus, you've got people that are going to be following up with them directly. Like, just get comfortable asking to see people again this Sunday. And this is for everyone, me included. All right, so if you are ready to stop guessing and start building outreach that actually works, I've got some resources for you. First, grab my free summer outreach ideas kit, because you'll get 10 creative, low-cost ways to reach your community this month. And listen, if you want to avoid the chaos with volunteers at your next event, check out my church volunteer kit. It's $6, and it helps you assign roles, set expectations, and finally feel organized at your next event. And look, if you are tired of winging it week after week with outreach ideas, I created a 52-week outreach ebook. If you really wanted to, it gives you an outreach idea for every week of the year. It is a $9 ebook. The link is in the descriptions. And the idea is that you can use it for your whole calendar, so you can set up those outreach rhythms and create some wins for this year. And lastly, if you're a pastor or an outreach leader, and you're ready for more than just these resources, you need support, feedback, and accountability, join the field team. It is a weekly activation group where I walk with you as we take ground for the kingdom of God. We pray, we plan, we push and encourage each other, because having great ideas is wonderful, but if you are not accountable for execution, those ideas are kind of worthless. Listen, we don't need another conference. Conferences have tons of ideas. That's not what we need. We need accountability to push through. So if that sounds like something that you would like to be a part of, my first activation group for the field team is starting July 15th. Again, you can sign up in the description below. Listen, pastors, leaders, pastors, outreach leaders, I'm right there with you. So if you've been trying to do outreach and it has been frustrating, I hope you grab some of my resources. And I also hope that you come back next week where we continue this discussion. Let's build something together. Thanks, guys.